Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jalen and I'm the Bookish Geek. So I thought, just Hendrix in the background there. So I thought today I would film the Goodreads Top 5 Wednesday thing. From what I gather, they post a question every Wednesday and then booktubers, bloggers, bookstagram people answer it. So I'm going to try and do it every week depending on the question and whether I can actually answer it or not. But this week it's books for my younger self. So it's basically books that you think your younger self might have benefited from or similar, I think. So I've got my 5 books here, so I'm just going to go through and just say why I wish I'd read them when I was younger. 2 of them I couldn't actually get to because there's a load of crap in front of my bookcase. So I'll just post a picture. I'll just put a picture up somewhere about. So the first one is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I only read these about a year and a half ago, and the reason for that is I was of the ideal age, I think, when the book started coming out, and then when the first film came out, I think was it 2001 when the film came out, so I would have been about 8 years old then. But I just wasn't interested. Everybody at school, this was all they ever talked about. I guess it bothered me how popular this was, so I put it off for years and years and years, and I finally watched the films and I enjoyed them, but I was like, you know, nothing to write home about. And then when I stopped being an idiot and finally got into it, I was like, oh my god, what was wrong with me? Definitely regrets there. Next one, which is one of the ones that I couldn't get to, is The Hobbit by RR Tolkien. I didn't know anything, really, growing up about The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings or anything like that. I knew nothing of Tolkien until I was about 17, I would say, and I became obsessed with the films. I read The Hobbit and I read the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and now I'm going through and reading other stuff. I finished The Children of Hurin this year and stuff like that. So I feel like once I sort of got into Lord of the Rings, I almost found a piece of myself. I know that sounds really stupid. I wouldn't have expected young me to read Lord of the Rings, but I definitely think I would have enjoyed The Hobbit with its sort of links to Norse mythology and other mythology. At the same time, I'm a big believer that books do come at a certain time in your life. So next I have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. So teenage me loved dystopian. I love George Orwell and Aldous Huxley and all that sort of thing. But young me didn't really read female authors. It was very male orientated, what I read. And I just feel I would have benefited from having a female voice with female issues. At the time I wasn't really branching out to different authors, I was just sticking to what I knew. I do think this is one that I would have loved when I was a teenager. I just wish that I'd read it earlier than last year. So the other book that I couldn't get to is the Skulduggery Pleasant series by Landy. I would say that the Skulduggery Pleasant series is for a much younger audience than teens, but I mean I'm reading them now, so I say that anybody can enjoy them. But when I was younger, I read quite a bit of Jacqueline Wilson and the Princess Diaries series. I can't remember who wrote that. I feel like as if I would have absolutely loved the Skulduggery Pleasant series. It's a good groundwork for getting into fantasy, magic, all that sort of thing. I feel as a child I would have identified more with Valkyrie than some of the other characters around my age that I read about. I mean, thinking about it, I'm not entirely sure when the Skulduggery Pleasant series started coming out. So, and finally, last but not least, I have Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson. I feel as a teenager I would have really identified with Miss Pettigrew, even though she's a middle-aged woman in this. But her whole life is basically changed in one day. She's just this mild-mannered, unassuming, unlucky woman who comes across as quite awkward, and by complete accident she's like thrust into these out there situations, and she just learns a lot about herself in this one day, and she becomes a new person because of it. I think as a teenager a book like this would have definitely helped. So that was my top 5. I probably answered all those a bit vaguely, but I'm still getting used to this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do next week's top 5 because I think it's classics that you wish were made into modern adaptations, and I haven't read too many classics, so it kind of feels a bit pointless for me to be talking about that. But I'm going to pre-record the week after for favourite covers because I'm going to be in the States by the time that comes around, and I'm not going to be here with my books to show my favourite covers. So I'll definitely be doing that one. So enjoy the rest of your day. Please subscribe if you want to see more of my random ramblings. And I shall see you next time.